Let me teach you how to add a background image to any section of your Shopify store. Now stick with me. I am going to give you some tips, some best practices, and also some troubleshooting tips along the way. So no worries. And we will be using some CSS, but we will not touch the edit code. So I know a lot of people find this intimidating, but we do not have to go to this section. We're going to do all of the customizing within the theme customizer. So let's get started. So I am going to assume that you already have your images. So if that is the case, the video has video stamps in the description down below. So you can go ahead and skip ahead, or you can just listen in just in case. What I have to say, my advice to you about background images. I have this website here. It's called pexels.com, and this is royalty-free images that you could use. Now, what I want to say about background images, that they are just that, right? They are background images. So what needs to shine through is your text, right? So what is it that you want to sell? What is it that you want them to sign up for? What is your value proposition? And that's what's important, okay? The background image is just that. It's just in the background. I just want to make sure that I point this out. So with Pexels, what's nice is that you have some filters that you can add. So we want the image to be horizontal when we're doing a background image for the most part. Then we can also do size. And then, but what's important here is the hex color. With Pexels, you can actually enter a hex color here. So let's say my images are usually green and yellowish cream for the website that I have. So you can go ahead and just start off picking an image with the colors that already pertain to your website. Okay, so that is something that you could do. Let me take a look and see if there's anything green that kind of stands out for me. Right, so this is what you can do, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave it alone and just go with the coffee shrubs that I already had, right? And so what you want to look for is images that are uniform in color and they don't have a lot of contrast. Okay, and that is because we want to think about the text that is going to go on top of these image. Okay, so this contrast between the coffee flower and the black, that is not going to be good for a background image, but this one will, right? See, the uniform is dark, everything in the image is kind of dark. Or if you want to use black font, then maybe a lighter image, like something like this. Okay, but you don't want your image to compete with the text. So I'm going to go with this one here. So if you click on the image here in Pexels and you click on download, you'll have some options of the sizes of the images that you can download. So for background image, you can go with a medium. A 12 by 80 is fine, but I'm going to go ahead and use the 19 by 20. So you select this, you make sure that the check mark is here, and then you go ahead and you can download this image. And as you see right here, it's going to download this image. And now what I want you to do is check your file. So it's going to download to your download folder. So the image is a JPEG, which is perfectly okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and click on my properties and see the file size for this image. And we're going to see here that the file size is 212 kilobytes. So that's pretty good. I normally try to keep my images below 500. So if this was anything over 500, then I would definitely recommend for you to compress your images. And I'll leave some resources on the description down below for that. Okay. So now that we have our image, now we're going to head over to our Shopify dashboard. We're going to go into content and files. We're going to go ahead and drop in that image right in there. Don't upload it into Shopify as I just did like this. Make sure that you rename it using some keywords that are appropriate for this image and the section where you're using it. Okay, I'm going to leave the video up above here, which shows you how to prep your images before you upload them to Shopify. So make sure you go check out that video because I give you a step-by-step on how to do that. So now that the image is set up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually open another window with my online theme store just so that I have both of them up because I'm going to need something from here. Okay. All right. So here we are on our theme customizer. We are going to be using the latest version of the Dawn theme. It's the 15. So we're going to go ahead and customize it. But there is one thing that we have to do before we add the CSS. Okay, and that is we have to create a color scheme that has no background color. Okay, so what you'll do here, we'll add the color scheme. So you click on add, and then where we have the background color, we want to remove that background color. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. There we go. So our background is transparent. Okay, so this is going to be really important. Now my text, the text for this, I'm going to need the text to be white, because if we remember, my image is on the darker side. So I want my image to be white. Okay, now my solid button background, I'm going to want that to be green. There we go. And then I want the text on the button to be white as well. So there's a lot of contrast there, which is what we need. Okay, I'm going to leave the outline there by itself because I don't really need that one. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Right, and now I have a color scheme here that has no background color. Okay, so now let's go to a section that I haven't done a lot of work on. All right, perfect. Let's do here our purpose. Okay, so once you click on the section that you want to work on, you're going to have this side panel section, right, where you have all of the customizations that you can make for that section. Okay, so what you'll do here is that this is some CSS that I've done here in order to add some shadow to the header and increase the font size here. So I will leave that video in the description down below, but I'm going to go ahead and add some spacing here, and then I'm going to now add the actual code for the video that you are here to see. Perfect. So this is the code that we're going to be using, and I'm going to show you how to use each one of these lines here. So now that we have the code entered here, what you're going to do now is we're going to head back to where our files are, and you're going to hover over the image that you want to use, and you're going to get this copy link right here, right? So you're going to go ahead and just click on that so that you can copy the link. And then we're going to head over to the code right here and enter right between the two quotations, and then paste the URL for that image. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save it. All right, perfect. Now that it's saved, now what we'll have to do here is that we have to change the color scheme. Remember, we changed it up here. So now we have to change the color scheme to the transparent background, and now you have the image behind that section there. I'm actually going to remove my header custom code that I had added, because now I do not want that. I don't need it for this particular tutorial, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it, and there we are. Okay, so let me go ahead and save that, and now let's work on the rest of this code so that we can adjust the way that background looks just a little bit, and you can adjust it for yourself as well. So the background repeat, I have it set to no repeat, right? Because I just want the one image to show, right? So if you do not have this set and the image is small, it's going to want to fill this whole area up. So it will repeat the image, right? So I have it to no repeat. Then I also have the size to cover. If you remove this line of code here, I'll show you what it will do, right? It'll kind of just move the image just a little bit because it's a large image. Remember, it was 19 by 20. But if I add the cover, it means it's going to take the image and put it so it fills up this whole space right inside here. Then the next line will be my background position. So it's currently in center, but if I want to pull the image down just a little bit, so what I can do center top, and you'll see what it will do, right? So if we go back to the image here, remember, so right now it's just using this, it's just showing this section right here, right? So if I want it to show more of the top, that's what I would do. If you want more of the bottom of the image to show, then you can just add here bottom, and it'll bring, we got to spell it right. It will bring the image up just a little bit so the bottom here shows. Okay, hope that makes sense there. Okay, and so here again, this is why I was saying that we want enough contrast between our text and the background image. So I'll go into more details of this background, the no repeat, the size, the position, and all of the things in my blog post. So if you want more details on that, go ahead and link in the description down below. All right, so that is how you're going to kind of manipulate what part of the image is going to show here as your background. Now, what the beauty about this here is that now you can go ahead and copy and paste this to any section that you want to add this image to. So here, for example, this is the image with text section. So if you go to the image with text section here, you can come down to the custom CSS, add it, and then what you have to remember that we have to add that color scheme, and there you have it should you want to use that, right? So that is the point, that you could use that code anywhere that you want to use the code. You just have to remember to use that color scheme. Okay. Now, another tip that I want to give you, and this is just in case this background image doesn't load for your customer, right? What will happen is that you're going to have white fonts, and then the background is going to be white. So to them, it's going to appear like a blank section. Okay. So what I want you to do here is that I want you to add a background color. I'm going to go ahead and use black, and this is what is going to happen, right? I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'm going to remove the background image to simulate what it would look like if it doesn't load for your customer. So let's go ahead and remove that image, and this is what they're going to see in case that happens, right? So you want to still have a functional website, right? And you don't want that section to appear like it's blank, right? Because it's going to be white text with no background because we have it set to transparent. Okay, so always add a background color just as a fail-safe in case the image doesn't load. Okay, my friend, now I'm going to show you how to create a pattern. So maybe you have an image or some elements that you actually want to create a pattern on as a background. Then what you would do is, let's go ahead into the file, and I created a pattern right here. Now this is a PNG because it's a transparent background as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy the link, and this is a very small file. So here it is, it's 11 kilobytes. So this is a nice way of creating a pattern background without having a huge file size. So copy that link, and what we'll do is we'll go right between the parentheses again and just replace that URL. Okay, and now what we'll do here, we'll make some adjustments to this code. I'm going to go ahead and delete the back, right? I'm going to go ahead and also delete the position because I don't need it to be any specific position, because I just wanted to go ahead and repeat. And I also don't want it to take up the whole section, okay? But I do want to keep the repeat and just remove the no repeat. And there we go. So now we created this one. Let me show you again what it would be, no repeat. So if it was just the image, look how small it is, right? So it's just a teeny tiny, I think it's a 90 by 90 is the size of that image, 90 pixels by 90 pixel. But now by removing it from here, I get a nice custom background, repeating pattern, and it's mine. It's custom to my website, right? Which is what we want, right? We want our websites to be as unique as possible. Okay, so that's how you can create a background pattern. So now we're coming to the end. So I'm going to show you how to possibly troubleshoot if you're adding a background image to a section and it's not showing the way you want it to show. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and go to, let's do the Dawn 7. Okay, so we go head over to the Dawn 7 and let's go ahead and customize that. Okay, let's go to a section here. All right, so if we go to the multi-column, so same thing, we're going to go to the section, the custom section, and you're going to apply the code. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to show you what you need to do. Here's a great example. So the code, we saw that it worked on the Dawn 15, but not here in this section on the Dawn 7. Okay, not a problem. So what you do is you come to right before the curly brackets, you're going to press period, and then you're going to start typing in the name of that section, and most of the time it's going to work. So you're going to start typing multi-column, right? And then the first section, the first selection in here, we're going to go ahead and apply that, and there we go. There is the background image. Okay, so sometimes it's just as simple as that. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Let's go to another section here. Let's go ahead and use the rich text here. Let's see if the rich text here works. Now, as you can see here, we cannot remove the background color on here because this is the older version 7. So the color, it doesn't have the color scheme like the 15 does, okay? So you can't remove the background color here. So what you'll do is you'll click on this section here, and we'll do the same thing like we did with the multi column. So we got period, and then you start typing rich. Whoop, you got to spell it correctly. You start typing rich here. Oh, did I miss a curly bracket? You got to be very careful not to delete anything. All right, so rich. And there you go. You see that it's on the background of that one as well. Okay, so the background doesn't have to be transparent. You just have to find the class or the ID for your theme, and you can do that using the inspect tool. Now head over to this video here where I'm going to guide you through in details how to prepare your images before you upload them into Shopify. Adios.